Moving on, the next movie that we're going to review is Salt, directed by Phillip Noyce of Clear and Present Danger fame. It stars Angelina Jolie and Liev Schreiber and the way underutilized Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Congratulations for pronouncing that.
Yeah, and Mr. Ejiofor, if I'm saying that wrong, I'm sorry. But I think this movie, the premise is a CIA operative is in an interrogation room with some guy who's supposedly old KGB or some Soviet secret agency or whatever. And basically, in the interview, he's like, by the way, we have these sleeper agents that are all over the place, and one of them is you, Angelina Jolie. And at that moment, I was like, and I don't care about this movie. And, it goes from preposterous to more preposterous. Chiwetel Ejiofor, who is in it, he's in it for a grand total of maybe 10 or 11 minutes in the whole movie. Horribly underutilized. He was the best part of the movie. But I could totally tell he was kind of like, I don't know why I signed on for this, because it was horrible. And Liev Schreiber was in it. And I personally love Liev Schreiber.
I do too. He's the best part of Wolverine.
Yeah, well.
Which is not saying anything at all.
No, it's not. I would say that the problem with Liev Schreiber is he really needs to find a new agent, because he keeps signing on for movies that are just horrible. With Salt, I was expecting it to be... I kind of went into it going, maybe it'll be a little bit of a mind game with a lot of really cool action scenes. It was a little more mind game, a little less action movie than I expected. And the mind game wasn't that fun. Like I kind of, is she a double agent? Is she a triple agent? Is she even deeper than that? Like, there's a lot of scenes that go back and forth, a very contrived marriage. No chemistry at all on her part. Definitely more from the husband, even though he's not on screen for more than
10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so for me, I gave it a D. I did. Wow. Yeah, just because the action sequences weren't imaginative, they weren't interesting. I hate Angelina Jolie more now because of this movie. I've never been an Angelina Jolie fan. She can't act. I'm sorry. And she isn't that good looking to me. Call me crazy.
Controversial.
Yeah, it's crazy. But for me, I found the parts that were entertaining were far too scant to merit. I fell asleep during part of it, and I hated the fact that since I was reviewing it for this, I had to rewind and watch the part that I fell asleep for.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, well,
I appreciate it.
I did that for you.
I'm going to completely disagree with you. I gave it a B+.
Whoa.
This movie actually really surprised me. I thought that it was just going to be basically Jason Bourne as a girl.
Yeah.
And in places it kind of was, but there's a lot of stuff that I appreciated it for. First of all, especially after seeing the A-Team and the Losers and the Expendables and all of these really cheesy action movies that just do not take themselves seriously at all. It was nice to see an action thriller that did take itself seriously. It took its subject matter seriously, even though it was at times kind of ridiculous. I also thought that it was just kind of an interesting little throwback to the Cold War thrillers of like the late '80s, and Phillip Noyce has been part of that, doing Clear Present Danger and Patriot Games and those kinds of movies. And I thought there's an old style kind of filmmaking here, that kind of a classic action filmmaking that I appreciate seeing. There's not a lot of CG effects.
That's true.
Most of the action effects are done practically, and I really like that about it.
I appreciate that as well.
I thought that there was a good tense atmosphere to the movie all the way through, and I thought Angelina Jolie, who I agree I'm not a huge fan, I thought she actually managed to. She was a character. It wasn't just she was Angelina Jolie doing this movie. I thought like she was in Wanted, where she was just Angelina Jolie with a gun.
Okay.
I thought there was actually kind of a character and some attention to character backstory in this movie. It's kind of weird because it is such a throwback. If this came out in 1992, it would totally make sense.
Oh yeah, it'd be one of the best movies of that year.
Yeah, but having come out now, it is kind of like, what's with all this Russian paranoia stuff? But then I kind of liked it about that too. It's sort of an artifact. So I gave it a surprising B+.
Okay. I am thoroughly surprised that you did that. See, for me, my problem is that there were times when the plot would jump so ridiculously. Yeah. And you end up finding out in the first couple minutes that basically the sleeper agents were children that they raised to be American to eventually grow up to do Soviet espionage.
But apparently that happens. Apparently that's not completely out there.
Okay, sure.
I mean, a lot of other countries are doing it to other countries, not just Russia to us. And us
Of
to them or
course,
whatever,
of course.
But
I still think that I guess at the end of the day, I didn't care. My problem was yes, it was way too much of a Bourne Identity throwback. I totally forgot to rant about that when I was introducing the movie. Is because, and I hated the first Bourne Identity. I hated it. I thought it was terrible. The action was shoddy. You know, if we were to review that again, I'd probably give that one a C or D as well. But yeah, it felt like it was a lot of female Jason Bourne throwback. And I also
I was surprised
hated
how much it wasn't, because I actually kind of appreciated the movie for those quiet moments, because I always thought that the Bourne movies are a little too claustrophobic in their action scenes. It's just like action scene, action scene, action scene.
Okay.
Whereas this one, there are some quiet moments of her planning things and trying to figure things out and be a couple steps ahead of the game, and I sort of appreciated the pacing and the differentials in the movie.
I'll give you that. I think it did space out their action scenes quite well. But I just, as a whole...
But if you don't like the plot, you don't like the plot.
Yeah, that's true. It didn't sell me at the first, and I also hated that it opened up for a sequel. Like, at the very end, I was like, are we really doing this?
And apparently Phillip Noyce isn't interested in doing it, so it's going to be like...
It's going to be called Pepper, is what it's going to be called. Oh, man, that movie was so bad.
I hope so.
I would see it if it was named Pepper. If it's Salt, too, no dice. But if it's called Pepper, I'm in.
You're there.
I'm there.
I'm there.
And I'll probably love it.
All right, well... We'll move on now to our third film of